basically in
Sorry.
us, that's okay. Our software basically enables them to make efficiency savings, to be more streamlined, more competitive, but
Hmm.
it also improves the customer experience, allows them to make faster decisions, makes them more competitive. So in terms of our
Pretty fancy. I was looking at the website saying,
yeah.
wow, you guys have got a good breakdown of clients as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've got a really good range of clients. The company's about 40 years old.
Oh, wow.
Um, it was started in Pakistan, but I think our head office is now in the States. We're listed on the NASDAQ. We have offices in Australia, China,
Awesome.
Thailand, Europe. So we're quite a big organization. I work for the European side.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of the way our team is set up, I'm based in either Horsham or London office,
Hmm.
and I look after our basically any sort of marketing activity that's happening in European territories.
Hmm.
But then we do have a separate team in the States, and we have different teams sort of all over, like in Thailand and China. Um, but we also have a centralized demand generation team who are based
Interesting.
in Pakistan. And that team do quite a lot of, they look after all our digital advertising, so our
Hmm.
LinkedIn advertising. They do lots of email marketing. They do outreach. They do quite a lot of different things. But we're sort of just interested to find out a little bit more about what we could do differently if we were working with an agency, because we're
Sure.
already doing quite a lot, but we sort of feel like maybe we could streamline a few things. And to be fair, we need to get better response. So there's quite a
Right.
lot of activity happening, but it's not
But the
necessarily
qualified
always
leads coming
joined
in is
up.
not right.
Yeah, it's not really generating what we need.
Hmm.
So that's really why we've decided we're talking to two or three agencies like
Yeah,
yourself,
sure.
just to try and see if there is a use for us to, by using an agency, if that would help us.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so whereabouts are you based?
Well, Pearl Lemon is out of the UK. That's our
Uh-huh.
headquarters. I'm currently standing in Atlanta, Georgia,
Okay, cool,
but I'm from
nice.
Australia. So
Yeah, I got your
there's a
accent.
whole
I knew it was not American.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just random, when we get leads that come in, they sometimes pop on my calendar. They just kind of get distributed amongst
Oh,
the
I
the
see.
sales team. So
Okay.
yeah, I've got several clients in the UK in the EMEA market.
Uh-huh.
I've got a very similar case where I've got an Australian company. This guy's really cool. He runs basically the military swag for
Oh,
Australia.
wow.
So he's based in Canberra at Parliament House, and all of the medals and stuff that people buy,
Yeah.
he's got a team like you that's offshore that
Oh,
he's looking
really?
to kind of, well, he's in his third, fourth month with us now. And what we're doing is we're helping him build the campaigns, but the plan is to then pass it back to his team. So we're working with
Okay.
his
So you
team to
can do a
learn the
bit of
best
both.
practices. Uh-huh, absolutely. So
Okay,
we kind
that's
of move things
interesting.
into the stratosphere that's different than yours, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but then we bring your team alongside, and the plan, in 6 months is to offload
That's
them
really
back to your team.
interesting.
Uh-huh,
Okay. And I saw you're recording this. So would I be able to share that recording with a couple of
absolutely.
my colleagues? Yeah, that would
Absolutely.
be
Yes.
great.
Yes, ma'am. No problem at all. So,
Okay.
yeah, we do basically everything that you said that you and your demand gen team is doing. We do the cold emails. We do our bread and butter is the emails, the calls, the LinkedIn private messages, and I can send you all of this after
Yeah.
the call as a breakdown. We've actually started going into Twitter or X right now, which is having a lot of interesting success. But before I go
Okay, that's
down our
interesting.
route, I'm curious in terms of your ideal customer profile, like who are you targeting? Because that helps me kind of
S-
massage the conversation.
Yeah, so we do have that. I haven't got it in front of me. I wonder if I can just find
But is it
it.
B2B? Is it
Oh gosh,
B2C?
yeah. So it's definitely B2B. So
Okay,
and it's quite a complex purchasing decision. So there's
of
a lot
course
of
it
people
is.
involved in the process.
Why would it be easy
It can take
B2B?
about it's for quite long-winded as well. So it
Hmm.
can take about 18 months,
Yep.
12 months to 18 months from first talking to somebody to going through procurement to
Love the
actually
procurement
getting
team.
a sale. Exactly. So it's very B2B. There's a lot of different people involved. We're dealing a lot with like the digital transformation
Mm,
side of an organization.
mm.
So there's a lot of technical people involved, but then there's also, like say, sort of, I don't know, exec level
Right.
is
I
really
used to work
important
in
as well.
corporate as well in that area, from procurement to HR, so I know exactly what
Oh,
that is.
okay. So yeah.
I was actually
And
based in Paddington
oh,
for
really?
7 years. I was back and forth between Atlanta and Paddington.
Oh,
Used to
wow.
love hanging out
That's
there.
quite
Big
a
travel
commute.
agency. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, I'd go over there. We'd eat dinner at the Savoy, and then I'd come home. It was quite nice, actually.
Nice.
Um,
But yeah, so and in terms of like so it would be lenders, brokers within the lender, sort of senior sort of I don't know, like managing director, director of digital transformation, that
mhm.
sort of, you know, quite high level.
Yes.
Obviously, they would have people
Well,
underneath
the
them.
decision makers, right?
Yeah, like this, the team of risk teams,
Mm,
underwriting. Because of the nature of our product, it would go across, quite a big part of their organization,
hmm.
and there's different touch points.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, we can do it, and we do that already. I mean, we've got some big companies. I mean, goodness me, Deepak, our CEO, was bragging about how we just completed a brand project with Nike, and I mean, that's one of the world leading brands, right? So we're helping from them all the way down to, I've got a mom and pop shop who's house cleaning in New Jersey. So
Mhm.
it's a big distinction between the type of companies that we work with, but we do have a lot of intricate, and I can send you some case studies at this level where you are talking about the C-suite that we've got to go after, and to show
Yeah,
you how we're going to contact them. And you know, an email or a cold call to a C-suite may not be as effective as a LinkedIn kind of direct
yeah.
message campaign. So
I feel
we,
LinkedIn would be a really good, we've really not explored that enough. I'm just having a
right.
little look. I've just found a bit more info about ICP. So we've got down here like asset finance, so brokers and
Mm,
lenders, but it's specifically in asset finance world. So that's sort of, if they don't do asset finance, then they won't be a customer of ours. So we have
and
to
are you
make sure
looking
that that's,
specifically in the UK EMEA market or European market, or are you talking
yeah.
US as well? Okay.
So at the moment, well, that's an interesting question because I just work across Europe, but this is a project that could possibly run
Be
across the
global.
US as well. Yeah.
Hmm. And for a
So
company in EMEA, they may have a C-suite that's based in the US too. So there's that whole,
yeah, exactly. So that
right?
that could be the case. In terms, what else I had down here is so obviously commercial finance, auto captives, banking, automotive dealerships, which I think would be more in the US. The company size tends to be like 200 plus people,
Mm,
and yeah, C-suite directors, heads,
yeah.
finance, IT, digital transformation, and sales. So and we have a target list of companies as well.
Oh, you do. That's good. That's good because we do that. That's part of the package. So
Hmm.
knowing that you've got your list, we would then go out as part of the package to get our own list and kind of hold them with you side by side to say, okay, so you've got this, we've also got this. This gives us a lot more runway to kind of go after folks, over a
Okay,
campaign.
yeah,
Um,
that's good. Um, yeah, so we have a sort of target list, but we might already have some, interaction with some of those. So we really need to be able to look for new avenues for everything. Just
that's good. And I think, and I'm just bringing it up right now. I'm wondering whether I can send you. I just thought of a company that I saw we were working with, whether it's very much down the line as what you're talking about here. Um, so the process, let's pretend, Melissa, that after, however many days or weeks or hours it takes for you to make this
hmm
decision, let's pretend you chose Pearl Lemon as your choice to move forward. basically, if we were month to month, so that's good in a lot of ways. You're not like locked into
Hmm.
anything, which I think is great, at least in my experience
Yeah,
in this
that is
space.
good. Yeah, especially
Um,
because this would be we'd probably do like a 2 or 3 month test anyway
that's
to
exactly
start
what I was
with.
going to say.
Yeah.
I like to say, 2.5 months is really a good grasp.
Hmm.
I always say commit to 3 to give that runway a bit of a hockey stick kind of flick at the end. Because really that first month is spent with our team working with your team to try and figure out. Let's pretend we chose LinkedIn. All this ICP stuff is great, but we've got to develop the scripts, the workflows, everything that you then
Hmm.
approve before we go out and test. And after we test, we then go. We look at about 1,000. I think right now we're at about 1,000 connections a month.
Okay.
Okay, in terms of just that. That's kind of that. So that if you go to the second, that's 2,000, right? And then by the third, you got 3,000, and then from there, you're looking at pulling
Okay.
together all the
And
data.
in terms of a lead, I mean, a connection is good. So connections are something we would be looking to achieve, but then from that, we
No,
like to
we
get
want the
proper
sales
interaction.
qualified
Yeah,
leads, right?
exactly.
And we're not going to bring you forward. What we don't do, and I can say this now, having my hands in this long enough, is we don't come to you with, hey, here's 10 people we think. No, no, no. The way that we've developed the script is here's 2 or 3 people that we know that you need to talk to.
Hmm.
Then it's
Yeah.
either we pass it to you and you go close, or for an extra add-on, we can take that further down.
Hmm.
I always like to say, at least for the test, let us give them to you. You speak to them, or your team speaks to them. You can decide, well,
Yeah,
that
we would
was, that
probably
wasn't.
do that. Yeah,
Because
that's what
we
we would
it's going to take
prefer.
so much longer to train us to do that, right? So,
Hmm.
and for like LinkedIn, just so you've got as a ballpark too, I believe it's £3,000 ish for that component campaign
Hmm.
per month,
Okay.
right? And so that's kind of the ballpark. Now, we could lean forward, we could lean back depending on what you want us to do, but typically one of our components, like a LinkedIn, is around £3,000 a month for as long as you want to go.
And
Now,
what would that give us, £3,000 a month, like in terms of how many connection requests would
you
you
get lots
send
of
out?
connections for 3,000. No, I will, let me send this to you in email because it'll just
Yeah.
make more sense. But the breakdown's pretty specific and it goes through a few of the metrics, like here are the metrics we take. Here are again, by the second month, that's when you really want to start to see a lot of those sales qualified leads dropping each week. And we follow it up with reporting and I can send that all to you. I mean, in fact, since I've got you here, let me see if I can share my screen real quick with your permission. Can you see that? That should be
Yeah,
our
I
website,
can.
right?
Yeah.
Can you see this? Did it switch to a Word doc?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is an example. This is cold email, but switch out cold email with LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Okay. It's the same, different. All of these campaigns can be different. Oh, actually, LinkedIn is here too. So here's an example of what we did. So pretend that this was your sector. This was for obviously a healthcare sector that we were working with.
Hmm.
But what we did was we developed, like, here's an example of, we developed, here are all the emails, right? Here are all the emails campaigns specific to their campaign in that sector of the healthcare, right? If you come back,
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
see the breakdown. So this is just
How
one client,
many
but look at
emails do you
this.
do normally, like
We
in
do,
a
it's around 5,000 as an email campaign,
I just meant
5,000 a
in
month, excuse
terms
me.
of the timing, how many do you normally send to somebody? Like four, five?
Oh, in terms of the actual,
Yeah, the
okay,
actual
so
number.
the answer is it depends
Hmm.
because you've got the intro and then if they say yes you get this, if you say no you get that, and it kind of workflows out like that as well.
Okay.
But it doesn't get more than 4 or 5.
Hmm.
Okay. But I just wanted to show you, so this would be like, put this into you, put this into LinkedIn. Here are the different customers you talk through, whether it be the asset finance, whether it be the IT director, the digital transformation, everyone was going to have a different kind of breakdown. I mean, you can
Yeah.
even see it here. So this is actually really good for LinkedIn. I'm glad we had this up. So like, here's the connector copy. Here's message one,
Yeah.
message two, message three, right? And then you would be, or your team would be part of helping us build these scripts. Even though we've got the best practices, then if we were doing in mail, it would look more like this, right?
Yeah.
A little bit thicker. So I just wanted to kind of give you a quick
No, that's
example
good.
of stuff that
That's
we've
good to
done.
see.
Um,
And
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 then, I
In
wanted to
terms of LinkedIn, if
yes.
you would say, sending connections on behalf of one of our sales team, how do you do that? How do you sort of get into their LinkedIn accounts and things? How do you do it?
Great. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. One is if your team is willing, we could take over real person accounts,
Okay, yeah,
which I know from a conversation I had on Friday is actually quicker. It's more reliable because you've got depth and time on versus us going to create
yeah.
a brand new one, then it's kind of looking spammy, all of
That's
that
how
stuff.
I've done
So,
it
mhm.
before. That's how we've always run the LinkedIn outreach, where somebody took over somebody's LinkedIn.
I mean, I just gave my colleague here, I gave them my wife's LinkedIn to go and use as a call because she doesn't use it. She's a school teacher. But it's been around for 10 years. So I'm like, go take it, just go have fun. So there's ways to do it and we can work through it because we want to make sure that you're comfortable and your team's comfortable
Hmm.
with it. If you don't
Yeah,
feel that you're comfortable with it, then we don't want to do that. There's other ways to
sure.
work around it. We've got several different mechanisms we can do and
So
use
you
for
can do
that.
like a plug-in into
Hmm
it. Yeah.
Potentially,
Or-
yes.
Okay,
And as
yeah,
we
because we
continue to
we would
talk, we
need to
can work
know.
through that.
We'd need to know that.
Yeah, I can on if you decide to move forward, we can get some specialists out here that will break it all down
Hmm.
for you, the
Okay.
specifics.
And do you do like say for example, we have a salesperson in Germany, we
Hmm
target France and Germany. Would you do LinkedIn messages in German, or is that a different service?
I think we can. That's a great question. Let me come back to you on that one. I have not actually asked that if we do it in different languages. If you give me a second, I can actually ask somebody that may have that answer over in the UK.
Sure.
Yeah, but I haven't been asked that question before, so I don't want to say yes, but I think I've never heard that we haven't been able to do anything.
Yeah, I don't know if we definitely need that, but it's an option, seeing as we've got a German speaker.
Let me see if
And
he comes
in
back.
terms of reporting back to the client, what sort of reporting or dashboard do you have?
Yes, and that's what I was actually hoping that I had in this sheet as well. So I was kind of showing you some of the breakdowns. Let me share this again to you. So like this would be, and this is more on the cold calling side, but this is, an example of how we would break it down. And then it goes into even more depth. Again, this is, I don't think I've got it right here right now. But the reporting is quite extensive and can be sometimes overwhelming based on what it is that we're doing. For LinkedIn, it's a little bit simpler than it may be for some of these others.
Hmm.
But this is just an example on the back end. This is the report. So this was a company that did, as you can see here on the left, they did the cold email, they did the LinkedIn and the cold calling, and this is the report that they would get weekly with breakdowns on each.
Okay,
So it's quite extensive.
so yeah, okay. It's not really a dashboard, is it? It's more like a list.
Um, yeah, and I know that for certain clients we've done like if they've got integrated stuff that they want us to input into, we've been able to
Hmm.
figure that out if it's not too much time.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
more just a, hey, here's a simple Word document. Anyone can use it. Hopefully, anyone can log into a Google Meet, right, Melissa?
You'd be
Anyway,
surprised. Nothing
yeah,
simple
never
in this.
anymore. So the reporting is pretty good, and as you can see, it's pretty thick, and there's a lot involved with it as well. But
Okay.
again, I'm with you the whole way. Should you choose to do this, and I go and kick the team's butt. We usually operate over WhatsApp, which is interesting. It was a new thing for me,
Hmm.
just so you could do the asynchronous piece. Voice notes, everyone is in the same group, everyone's seeing what's happening all the time. So things can continue to move.
Hmm.
And the client can flag up real quick and say, hey, we just got this feedback back. Please don't, or please do. Right.
Yeah.
And so our team
Okay.
can adjust because our team's global as well. We've got
Yeah.
some of the operations in South Africa, some of it's over in East Asia as well. So there's different people from different zones.
Okay. Yeah. Um, and do you use Teams at all?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. Because that is my
We could do
preferred
that.
method, just because we're on
Then we
Teams
will
all the
fix that up
time.
going
Yeah,
forward.
that would
Correct.
be easier. Um, so in terms of what do you think you would add differently to our in-house team?
Um, Let me just ping my group real quick because they're expecting me.
Oh yes, sorry, we've gone over.
No,
I
no, no, no,
think
you're fine.
well,
It's an onboard.
we
It's an onboarding
started.
call. It's an onboarding. Actually, if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to shoot a note to the whole team and just tell them I'm going to be 10 minutes late.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
so what would we add? Your question was, what would we add
Yeah.
um to your team, right?
Hmm.
Well, I think that there's a couple of things that I've seen in the past, which is where, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, no, it's just my background noise.
No, I was going to say we're in this daily. Like this is what we do daily. We're not just an extension to a team. So I guess the best practice piece and what is current in today's marketplace for the lead generation world is what we would then help train your team on once they saw what we were doing, right? Now, some of this dates back, but what we now have is new mechanisms, and we have actually new tools that we're using and specific tools that have worked for us on the LinkedIn side, on the like I was mentioning before, on the Twitter or X side now, we're using different AI mechanisms even to help us bring forward what we need to get the final piece I'd say is how we get the directories of the current folks could be something that they could learn from. So there's a whole number of different pieces to this that I think would be interesting. And like I said, we're always willing to teach, turn, and pass off to your team at the end.
Cool. And you showed me some of the email copy that you had.
Hmm.
Can you, what would that look like when it actually goes out? Like, do you send it via something like HubSpot, or does it look like
Oh,
it's actually coming from their own inbox?
yes, yes, and I can send you post this call how that works, so your
Yeah, that
team
would
can
be
look
good.
at it. We've done it a number of ways. We come alongside your entity, your web entity, and then we design mailboxes out from that. So it looks like it's coming
Hmm.
straight from you. It's never coming from us. We're just a catalyst in this whole process.
Yeah.
It's always
So,
going to
but
be
it looks
you.
personal. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. It's like from your personal, like,
Correct, correct. And you're
work
going to
email.
see it all before it goes out too. So
Hmm.
so I can say, Melissa,
Yeah.
you approved this. What are we doing? Or Melissa's team approved this.
Yeah.
And there's been several conversations around what and how. We'll
Hmm.
say, this is the best practice template. How would you like it filled out? Does this work for you? Okay, so then this is how it's going to actually be sent out. We've got to go build
Hmm.
these websites, web addresses to those websites, etc.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds interesting. I think we've already, because we've got our team in-house, it's really important that you get across when you send over the email what it would be that you're doing a bit differently, like how
Hmm.
you could add value to us.
Hmm.
Um, but if you didn't mind sort of sending a few sort of points from this, like if you've got some presentation you can share
Yep. I'll
about what
send
you
what
normally
I'll
do, that would be good.
Yes, what I'll do is I will break this down in a nice, pretty document for you and your team.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
include this recording as well so that you've got access to this.
perfect. Yeah,
And then if I can give you a bit of collateral around that as well as I will.
yeah, that would be
And then
good.
yeah, then we can go from there. There'll be a lot of jargon and sorry,
Hmm.
like process. I'll put at the bottom of the email so your team can have at it. It's like
Yeah.
give it to those guys and let them get nerdy on it. Because you're probably like, this is way too much for me. That's what I at least think. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
this is
no,
this
I'm
is
sure
this
I
is
will think that.
implementation teams, right? Implementation teams love this stuff, so we'll go from there.
Yeah, okay, no, that sounds good. And I think whenever we do this sort of outreach, I'm also conscious we need to have some piece of content that we're giving to
Yeah,
somebody.
some
And that's
value,
something
right?
we need to work on a bit in-house because we haven't necessarily got that to share at the moment. So we're sort of
Yes.
trying to build up our library of collateral. But
And as the marketing person, you're like, yep, we need that collateral now.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
But we've got a few things. There's a report coming out. There's a few things. So there is going to be stuff that we can use. But yeah, okay. I think that's probably enough for now.
Yeah.
If you can just, I don't need it. Well, you're US time anyway, so you've got a few more hours ahead of your day
Well,
than me.
yeah, I'm not done till four
But
tonight, but I'm hoping to get it back to you tonight, so you'll have it tomorrow morning
okay,
for
that
you.
would be great. And then I can share it with the rest of the team.
Fabulous. Well, we'll stay in touch. Thanks, Melissa, for your time. I'm glad
Okay,
we got to
thanks so
connect.
much.
All right, take
Yeah,
care.
glad we connected. Bye.
Bye bye.